When I became the Brooklyn Brawler, it was a re-debut, and I thought it was really exciting, especially being under the tutelage of the greatest manager, in my eyes, Bobby the Brain Heenan. It was like my first day in the WWE, and it was like being born again. It was really exciting. Well, the name the Brooklyn Brawler, I think it actually came up because I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. I think it was an idea of Bobby Heenan, if I remember correctly. He just thought I was a brawling type person, and he just took my background coming from Brooklyn, incorporated it into the Brooklyn Brawler. So I give credit to Bobby Heenan for coming up with the Brooklyn Brawler. I can remember my very first match as the Brooklyn Brawler. It was in Huntsville, Alabama, against a guy called Reno Riggins. That was his name. And I think I beat him to a pulp. I think I just came out there with the confidence from having Bobby Heenan next to me. It just gave me energy and a confidence that I'm a new man, and there ain't a person who is going to take me. There's not a person that is going to beat me. And that confidence alone, I beat the hell out of Reno Riggins.
In our crazy world of professional wrestling, few characters have captured the hearts of fans with as much rugged charm and unintentional humor as the Brooklyn Brawler. Emerging from the gritty streets of New York's borough of Brooklyn, this wrestler's persona was never designed to be the main event star. Instead, he carved out a unique niche as the unsung hero of the squared circle, a scrappy underdog who, despite countless losses, became a beloved symbol of perseverance and authenticity. His character was a blend of old-school brawler toughness, streetwise bravado, and a self-deprecating wit that resonated with audiences both in the arena and at home. Over the years, the Brooklyn Brawler transcended his role as an enhancement talent to become a living testament to the art of storytelling in wrestling. His career, replete with moments that were both painfully humbling and unexpectedly hilarious, encapsulated the spirit of professional wrestling, a world where every bout, win or loss, contributed to an ever-evolving narrative. This video embarks on a journey through the life and legacy of the Brooklyn Brawler. We will delve into his early beginnings, the evolution of his persona, and the countless moments that defined his tenure in the WWE. Along the way, you will discover how his gritty determination, combined with a touch of lighthearted humor, transformed an ostensibly minor character into an enduring cultural icon. By examining archival matches, behind-the-scenes anecdotes, and the indelible mark he left on the industry, we aim to present a comprehensive portrait of a wrestler who, against all odds, became a cherished figure in the annals of sports entertainment. So join me as we step into the ring with the Brooklyn Brawler and explore the multifaceted legacy of a true blue-collar warrior in professional wrestling. Before the bright lights of the WWE marquee embraced him, the Brooklyn Brawler's journey began in the rough-and-tumble neighborhoods of Brooklyn, New York. In a city defined by its relentless hustle and unyielding spirit, our Brawler's formative years were steeped in the ethos of blue-collar resilience. Stories of his youth paint a picture of a scrappy kid who learned early on that life was a battle, a series of challenges to be met head-on with grit, and a smile that hid the hardships of the everyday grind. While the specifics of his early life remain partly shrouded in the mists of wrestling lore, it is widely accepted that his Brooklyn roots were integral to the persona he would later bring to life in the ring. As a young man, he dabbled in local wrestling circuits where the art of brawling was less about technical prowess and more about sheer tenacity and character. His early matches, often held in modest community centers and local arenas, were characterized by raw, unpolished action, a far cry from the grand spectacle of the WWE, but rich with authenticity. It was during these formative bouts that he learned the ropes of professional wrestling in a literal and figurative sense. The countless hours spent training in dimly lit gyms, grappling with seasoned veterans, and absorbing the nuances of showmanship set the stage for a career that would later captivate millions. Even in these early days, there was an unmistakable spark, a willingness to embrace every loss as a lesson, every defeat as a stepping stone toward personal growth. The Brooklyn Brawler's persona was not built on victories alone, but on the relentless spirit of never giving up. His approach resonated deeply with the working-class fans who saw in him a mirror of their own struggles and dreams. Even in these early days, there was an unmistakable spark, a willingness to embrace every loss as a lesson, every defeat as a stepping stone toward personal growth. The Brooklyn Brawler's persona was not built on victories alone, but on the relentless spirit of never giving up. His approach resonated deeply with the working-class fans who saw in him a mirror of their own struggles and dreams. Through his rugged appearance, unpretentious demeanor, and an ever-present hint of humor in the face of adversity, he established a connection that would prove to be the cornerstone of his enduring appeal. By the time the WWE began to take notice of his unique blend of tenacity and comic relief, the Brooklyn Brawler had already honed a persona that was as distinctive as it was endearing. Far from the flamboyant superstars who dominated the headlines, his character was a throwback to an earlier era, a time when wrestling was a gritty, no-nonsense contest of wills. Clad in attire that evoked the imagery of a street fighter more than a polished athlete, the Brooklyn Brawler embraced every aspect of his Brooklyn heritage. His rugged, unshaven look, mismatched gear, and a never-say-die attitude contributed to an image that was instantly recognizable and profoundly relatable. Within the WWE universe, where larger-than-life characters often battled in epic showdowns, his role was paradoxically humble. Tasked with the crucial duty of putting over the emerging stars, he became the quintessential enhancement talent, a role that required not only physical resilience, but also a deep understanding of narrative dynamics. Every time he stepped into the ring, his willingness to absorb punishment and lose with dignity allowed newer talents to shine. Yet, in doing so, he wove a subtle narrative of his own, a story of sacrifice, humility, and the art of knowing one's place in a grander tapestry of sports entertainment. The character was meticulously crafted to embody the spirit of the underdog. In interviews and behind-the-scenes segments, the Brooklyn Brawler was known for his quick wit and self-deprecating humor. He often joked about his endless string of losses, turning what many might consider a career shortfall into a badge of honor. "Every time I lose, I'm one step closer to making someone else a champion," he would quip, eliciting laughter and nods of approval from both colleagues and fans alike. This humor wasn't forced. It was a natural extension of his life's philosophy. His willingness to laugh at himself, even in the face of adversity, elevated him from a mere jobber to a beloved folk hero in the wrestling community. Stepping into the WWE ring, the Brooklyn Brawler found himself thrust into a world where the stakes were high, and the action was as unpredictable as it was thrilling. Though his record was punctuated by more losses than wins, his matches were never lackluster in their storytelling. One of the hallmarks of his in-ring career was his ability to make every bout, regardless of its outcome, a memorable spectacle. Each match was a carefully choreographed display of endurance, resilience, and an unspoken understanding of his role in the larger narrative of the show. Among the most notable of his encounters were bouts against some of the most flamboyant and skilled wrestlers of the era. In these matches, the Brooklyn Brawler was the perennial underdog, often facing opponents whose agility, strength, and charisma dazzled the audience. Yet, despite the mismatched dynamics, he held his own with a blend of scrappy tactics and raw determination. His signature moves, if one could call them moves, were less about technical wrestling and more about creating moments of humor and pathos. A well-timed stumble, a feigned injury, or even a humorous miscommunication with his opponent often elicited a cheer from the crowd, transforming what might have been a forgettable match into a cherished moment of wrestling folklore. In one memorable storyline, he found himself in a rivalry with a rising star whose arrogance was as inflated as his championship aspirations. The feud, built on the classic narrative of the underdog versus the unstoppable force, was punctuated by backstage interviews where the Brooklyn Brawler's dry humor shone through. "I may not have the muscles or the moves, but I've got heart, and a knack for turning a loss into a lesson," he would remark. The storyline resonated deeply with fans, who saw in it a reflection of their own struggles and the eternal hope that every setback was merely a precursor to eventual triumph. The matches were often interspersed with moments of levity, whether it was an impromptu dance-off after a particularly dramatic fall, or a tongue-in-cheek reference to his storied history in the business. These instances of humor not only lightened the mood, but also underscored the humanity of a character who, despite being scripted for defeat, never lost his spark. The Brooklyn Brawler's bouts were, in essence, a microcosm of professional wrestling itself, a blend of athleticism, theatrics, and storytelling that defied the rigid expectations of win-loss records. Behind the glare of the arena lights and the roar of the crowd lay a life that was as unglamorous as it was fascinating. The daily routine of the Brooklyn Brawler was marked by a mixture of disciplined training, spontaneous pranks, and a camaraderie that transcended the scripted rivalries in the ring. His mornings often began in a modest gym, where he would train with the same relentless energy that had defined his career. Despite the physical toll that years of in-ring battles had taken on his body, his determination remained unbroken. Colleagues recall how he would lace up his boots with a quiet determination, often sharing a laugh over the absurdity of his circumstances. After training, there was time for the rituals that made him a cult favorite among fans and fellow wrestlers alike. Whether it was a leisurely stroll through backstage corridors or an impromptu session of banter with the rookies, the Brooklyn Brawler's day was a blend of work and whimsical moments. One popular anecdote recounts how he once orchestrated a playful prank involving a pair of oversized boxing gloves, leaving his teammates in stitches as they discovered the unexpected accessory to his workout gear. These lighthearted moments served as a reminder that beneath the gruff exterior lay a man with a deep appreciation for the absurdities of life, a quality that endeared him to everyone he encountered. Beyond the physicality and the theatrics, there was a profound sense of community in his daily life. In locker rooms and dressing areas where tensions often ran high, the Brooklyn Brawler was known for his ability to diffuse conflicts with a well-timed joke or a sincere word of encouragement. His humble origins and unpretentious outlook on life provided a counterpoint to the ostentatious displays of bravado that were common in the industry. For many younger wrestlers, he was not just a jobber or a stepping stone to stardom. He was a mentor who demonstrated that success was not measured solely by championship belts, but by the respect earned through perseverance and kindness. This glimpse into a day in the life of the Brooklyn Brawler reveals a man who embraced the duality of his existence, the rough-and-tumble wrestler who lost countless matches, and the wise, affable mentor who celebrated every moment, win or lose, with equal fervor. The tapestry of the Brooklyn Brawler's career is interwoven with countless behind-the-scenes stories that have since become the stuff of wrestling lore. Among these are tales of his uncanny ability to diffuse high-tension moments with a perfectly timed quip or a spontaneously arranged pratfall that left even the most hardened veterans in stitches. In one particularly famous incident, during a live televised event, an unexpected mishap with the set led to a moment of unscripted chaos. While other wrestlers scrambled to regain composure, the Brooklyn Brawler, ever the consummate professional, turned the incident into an impromptu comedy act. With a deadpan expression and a wry remark about keeping the audience on their toes, he transformed what could have been a production disaster into a highlight reel moment that fans still recall fondly. These stories are emblematic of a broader truth about his career, that the measure of a wrestler is not solely in his win-loss record, but in the indomitable spirit with which he met every challenge. Colleagues often recounted his habit of leaving locker rooms with a final piece of advice. Remember, it ain't about the win, it's about the story you leave behind. This maxim encapsulated his entire approach to professional wrestling. In an industry where flash and triumph were often prized above all else, the Brooklyn Brawler's willingness to embrace his role as the perennial underdog lent an authenticity to every match he participated in. Even outside the ring, his interactions with fans were characterized by a refreshing blend of candor and humor. At fan conventions and autograph signings, he would regale audiences with tales of his early days, punctuating each story with self-mocking humor and a reminder that every bruise and every loss had been a stepping stone on a long, winding path. His willingness to poke fun at his own misfortunes endeared him to fans who appreciated the honest, unvarnished narrative of a man who had truly lived the highs and lows of the wrestling world. Over decades of service to the wrestling industry, the Brooklyn Brawler has transcended the confines of his scripted role to become a cultural icon, whose legacy is measured not in championship titles, but in the hearts he touched. His contributions to professional wrestling extend beyond his in-ring performances. They are woven into the very fabric of the industry's history. For many, he represents the quintessential working-class hero, a reminder that even in a business dominated by superstars and flashy gimmicks, there is honor in humility and dignity in defeat. His impact is evident in the stories shared by newer generations of wrestlers, many of whom credit him with teaching them the value of resilience, the importance of humor in adversity, and the art of storytelling in the ring. In locker rooms across the country, echoes of his advice, delivered with a wry smile and an infectious laugh, continue to inspire. The Brooklyn Brawler's legacy is not just that of a wrestler who took a hit and kept on going, but of a man who transformed every setback into a lesson in perseverance. Even as the wrestling landscape has evolved into a global spectacle with high production values and cutting-edge athleticism, the spirit of the Brooklyn Brawler endures. His presence is felt in every underdog story, every moment of raw determination, and every time a wrestler steps into the ring knowing that sometimes the true victory lies in the courage to keep fighting. His career is a tribute to the idea that professional wrestling is as much about character and narrative as it is about physical prowess. And in that sense, the Brooklyn Brawler will always be remembered as a pioneer who reminded us all that the heart of wrestling beats strongest in those who dare to be different, who embrace every fall as a stepping stone, and who never lose sight of the joy and humor inherent in the struggle. In reflecting on the storied career of the Brooklyn Brawler, one cannot help but be struck by the enduring impact of a wrestler who was never meant to be the champion, but who became a champion of the people through sheer determination and authentic character. His legacy is one of quiet heroism, a reminder that in the realm of professional wrestling, every role, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant, contributes to the grand narrative of the sport. The Brooklyn Brawler embodied the spirit of the underdog, embracing every loss with humor, humility, and a sense of purpose that transcended the boundaries of scripted rivalry. His journey serves as a poignant lesson that greatness is not measured solely by titles or accolades, but by the resilience, passion, and authenticity one brings to every challenge. Beyond the confines of the wrestling ring, his influence has permeated the industry, inspiring countless wrestlers to honor their roots and value the lessons that come from every setback. His ability to transform moments of defeat into opportunities for laughter and learning has cemented his status as a beloved figure whose impact will be felt for generations. Fans, veterans, and newcomers alike find solace in his story, a story of perseverance, grit, and the unyielding belief that every fall is but a prelude to rising again. In a world increasingly dominated by spectacle and superficial triumphs, the Brooklyn Brawler reminds us that true heroism lies in the simple act of continuing to fight, day after day, with a smile on one's face. As we celebrate his legacy, we are reminded that professional wrestling is not just a display of physical might, but also a theater of human emotion and experience. His career, marked by memorable matches, unscripted humor, and an unshakable connection with his audience, serves as a timeless testament to the art of storytelling in sports entertainment. The Brooklyn Brawler's enduring appeal is a tribute to the idea that sometimes the most important victories are those of the heart, where every bruise and every laugh writes a chapter in the great saga of life. His story is a beacon of hope and resilience, a narrative that will continue to inspire those who dare to dream and to fight, no matter how many times they may fall. Well, that's all we've got time for today, and a big thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of our future content. See you in the next video.